Welcome back to the channel, the ultimate place for uncovering the hidden treasures that could be sitting quietly in your pocket change, your old jars, or maybe tucked away in your family's coin collections. And today we are diving into one of the most legendary stories in the world of coin collecting, a story that has fascinated experts, baffled historians, and excited treasure hunters for decades. The incredible 1944 wheat penny that is rumored to be worth an astonishing $40 million. Because of its rare errors and remarkable minting mistakes that set it apart from the millions of ordinary pennies produced during that era, making it one of the most talked about coins in the entire history of numismatics. And if you think all pennies look the same, this story will completely change the way you look at loose change forever. The 1944 wheat penny is from a time when the United States was coming out of the Second World War, a period of intense economic activity, metal shortages, and rapid industrial production, which created the perfect storm for minting errors and unusual anomalies to occur in the nation's coinage. While most 1944 pennies were made from copper, there's a tiny handful that was accidentally struck on leftover steel planchets from 1943, and this accident has led to the creation of one of the most valuable error coins ever discovered. The transition year from 1943 to 1944 is key to understanding why this happened. In 1943, the United States Mint used zinc-coated steel planchets for pennies to conserve copper for the war effort, and millions of these steel cents were produced. However, when 1944 came, the Mint switched back to using copper planchets made mostly from recycled shell casings, but some steel planchets were left in the presses or bins and mistakenly struck with 1944 dies, producing a minuscule number of 1944 steel cents that are today among the rarest coins in American history. Collectors have identified only a few dozen genuine examples, and each time one appears at auction, it attracts worldwide attention, often selling for hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars depending on its condition, provenance, and mint mark. But the story doesn't stop there, because within the 1944 wheat penny series, there are multiple varieties: double die errors, off-center strikes, repunched mint marks, broad strikes, clipped planchets, and transitional errors that have all contributed to the coin's mythical status and immense value. Some 1944 pennies were struck with misaligned dies, causing doubling on the obverse where Lincoln's profile and inscriptions appear, resulting in spectacular doubled letters in God We Trust, or Liberty, and sometimes in the date itself. Such double die errors can turn a common penny into a collector's dream worth thousands, especially if the doubling is strong and easily visible without magnification. Other coins show repunched mint marks, where the D or S mint mark was punched more than once at slightly different angles, creating a ghost-like image under magnification, a feature that specialized collectors love to hunt for. Then there are broad strike errors, where the coin is struck outside the collar, giving it a stretched or expanded look, and off-center strikes where the design is visibly misaligned, sometimes dramatically, which can make a coin instantly more desirable to error collectors. But the true crown jewel of 1944 is the steel penny struck in error. Imagine a coin that looks silver gray, magnetic, and unlike any other penny from its year. When these coins were first discovered, many people assumed they were counterfeit or altered, but metallurgical testing confirmed their authenticity. Genuine 1944 steel cents were struck at the Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco mints. Though Philadelphia examples are the most commonly reported, Denver is extremely rare, and San Francisco examples are almost unheard of. Because only a few examples escape the mint, their survival rate is incredibly low, and their value skyrockets with each passing year as collectors compete to own one. The highest recorded sale of a 1944 steel penny at auction has reached into the millions, depending on grade. Some coins in mint state condition graded by PCGS or NGC with clear surfaces and sharp strikes have achieved incredible prices. When stories circulate of a 1944 penny being worth $40 million, they are often tied to the legendary status of this error, combined with speculation, media attention, and the idea that a perfect example in private hands could fetch a record-breaking price if the right billionaire collector were interested. The rarity, historical context, and error combination create the perfect storm for astronomical valuations. To understand why these errors occurred, it's important to imagine the minting environment of the early 1940s. The Philadelphia Mint was working at unprecedented speeds, producing billions of coins with limited technology compared to modern standards, which made mistakes inevitable. Steel planchets from 1943 may have been stuck in hoppers, forgotten in barrels, or mixed accidentally with copper planchets during the transition, and because the mint had no intention of making steel cents in 1944, any that were struck were simply accidents that slipped through quality control, making them unintentional rarities. Over time, collectors began to study these anomalies more closely, developing methods to authenticate and classify them. Magnetic tests, weight measurements, and X-ray fluorescence analysis are among the tools used to separate genuine errors from counterfeits. A genuine 1944 steel cent should weigh around 2.7 grams, be magnetic due to its steel composition, and lack any evidence of plating or alteration. Copper 1944 pennies, by contrast, weigh about 3.11 grams and are not magnetic. These simple tests have saved many collectors from scams because counterfeiters sometimes try to alter 1943 steel cents by changing the date to 1944 or plate ordinary 1944 copper cents to look silvery. Serious buyers rely on third-party grading companies to ensure authenticity. Beyond the steel cent, the 1944 D penny has its own rarities. The Denver Mint produced over 430 million 1944 D cents, but among them are rare repunched mint mark varieties and even a few known examples of 1944 D struck on steel planchets, which are significantly rarer than their Philadelphia counterparts. A genuine 1944 D steel penny in high grade is one of the rarest Lincoln cents in existence, with only a couple known examples. One of these was sold for nearly $2 million in a private transaction, proving the incredible demand among elite collectors. Meanwhile, 1944 cents struck on steel planchets are so rare that only a handful are known, and when they appear, they generate intense bidding wars. These coins represent not just minting errors but tangible artifacts of a unique moment in history when America's coinage reflected the pressures of global war. Each 1944 steel cent tells a story of how a small oversight in a massive industrial process can create treasures beyond imagination. Adding to the intrigue, some 1944 pennies have off-metal errors where they were struck on foreign planchets intended for other countries' coins or on blank planchets meant for nickels, dimes, or other denominations, resulting in coins with unusual weights and metallic compositions. Such transitional errors are extremely scarce and often command impressive premiums at auction. Collectors are always on the lookout for anomalies like a 1944 penny struck on a silver dime planchet, which would produce a smaller, thinner coin with some of the dimes reading visible on the edges. Others might be struck on blank brass planchets intended for foreign coinage made by the U.S. Mint for Allied nations during the war. These off-metal strikes add another layer to the rich tapestry of 1944 penny varieties. Another fascinating aspect is the double die varieties. On some 1944 pennies, the doubling is dramatic, creating a collectible in its own right. A well-known example shows clear doubling on the date and inscriptions, making it immediately noticeable. These varieties have been catalogued by organizations like Kanika, Combined Organizations of Numismatic Era Collectors of America, and they often carry significant premiums depending on their visibility and condition. Similarly, repunched mint marks on 1944 D and 1944 cents are collected intensely, with specialists cataloging each subtle variation. This microscopic world of mint mark repunching reveals how manual die preparation was during that era, as mint marks were hand-punched onto working dies, leaving room for human error and unique varieties. Off-center strikes, broad strikes, and die cracks are other error types that make some 1944 pennies stand out. An off-center strike where a large portion of the design is missing but the date remains visible can be worth hundreds or thousands depending on severity. A broad strike can give a coin a dramatically expanded shape, while die cracks and cuds, raised lumps of metal caused by die breaks, can make a coin visually striking and collectible. Each of these errors adds character, and collectors prize them for their uniqueness. Over the decades, stories of lucky finds have inspired thousands of people to check their pocket change. There are accounts of ordinary citizens discovering a silvery 1944 penny in their change, bringing it to a local coin dealer, and learning it was worth a life-changing sum. Auctions have seen these coins cross the block to frenzied bidding, with the world's top collectors and investors battling for ownership. The media coverage around these events has only amplified the mystique, leading to rumors of astronomical values like $40 million being attached to pristine or unique specimens. While some of these numbers are speculative, they reflect the coin's low. Next. 1951 wheat penny. Today we're diving deep into the fascinating world of a coin that has shocked the numismatic community and captured the imagination of collectors worldwide, the 1951 wheat penny, a humble 1-cent coin that has been rumored to be worth a jaw-dropping $35 million because of its extraordinary errors, rare variations, and the unique circumstances that surround its creation, survival, and eventual discovery, making it one of the most legendary coins in modern American history and an object of obsession for coin hunters everywhere. The 1951 wheat penny might look like any other copper coin you've handled countless times before, but beneath its modest appearance lies a story filled with minting mistakes, transitional anomalies, planchet errors, striking mishaps, and rare die varieties that elevate it from pocket change to priceless treasure. To truly understand why this coin commands such astronomical value, we need to go back to the early 1950s, when the United States Mint was producing billions of Lincoln wheat cents as part of the post-war economic boom. In 1951, pennies were struck at 3 major mints: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The majority of these coins were perfectly ordinary, composed of 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc, weighing 3.11 grams, with the familiar bust of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and 2 wheat ears flanking the denomination on the reverse. However, within this massive production run, a handful of coins slipped through with astonishing mistakes that today make them among the most valuable error coins in existence. One of the most captivating error types associated with the 1951 wheat penny is the off-metal error. During this era, the mint occasionally struck coins on leftover planchets intended for other denominations or even foreign coinage, and a few 1951 cents were accidentally struck on steel planchets left over from 1943 wartime production, resulting in a silver-colored penny that looks nothing like its copper counterparts. These steel planchet 1951 errors are exceedingly rare, with only a couple known to exist, and their rarity combined with their historical intrigue makes them immensely valuable. Imagine discovering a 1951 penny that sticks to a magnet because it was struck on steel. That alone could make it worth millions to the right collector. Another spectacular error involves transitional planchets. After 1951, the composition of the cent remained stable, but within the mint's production process, leftover blanks or experimental planchets sometimes found their way into the presses, leading to coins struck on foreign metal compositions or blanks intended for other denominations. Some 1951 wheat pennies have been found struck on dime planchets, resulting in undersized coins with portions of the design missing, an error that commands extraordinary premiums due to its rarity and striking visual appeal. Beyond planchet errors, striking mistakes also play a major role in the 1951 penny's value. Double die obverse errors, where the coin was struck twice with a slight misalignment of the dies, create doubled images on the lettering or date, and collectors prize these errors for their dramatic appearance and the challenge of finding well-preserved examples. In some 1951 double die obverse varieties, the doubling is clearly visible on the words, "In God We Trust," or the date itself, making them instantly recognizable to trained eyes and highly sought after at auctions. There are also instances of broad strikes, off-center strikes, and even brockage errors where one coin was struck on top of another, creating mirror image impressions. Such errors are always popular with error collectors, but in the case of the 1951 penny, a few extreme misstrikes are so rare that they've sold for tens of thousands individually, and when combined with other unusual features like off-metal composition or double dies, they can push a coin's value into the stratosphere. Die varieties also play an important role in the 1951 penny saga. Over time, dies wear out and are replaced, and minor variations between dies can create collectible varieties. Repunched mint marks, where the D or S mint mark was punched more than once in slightly different positions, are popular among specialists. Some of the most famous 1951 S and 1951 D repunched mint mark varieties display dramatic overlapping mint marks, a result of manual punching at the time, and these can be worth hundreds or even thousands depending on condition. But the truly exceptional 1951 penny that has been rumored to fetch $35 million is believed to be a combination of multiple extraordinary factors, struck on a rare transitional planchet, possibly a steel or foreign blank, featuring a dramatic double die obverse, with an off-center strike and a clear repunched mint mark, all in near-perfect uncirculated condition. The odds of such a coin existing are astronomical, but history has shown us that similar once-in-a-lifetime errors do slip through the cracks. For example, the 1943 copper penny, struck when the mint accidentally used leftover copper planchets instead of steel during World War II, has sold for over $1 million at auction. The 1955 double die penny, famous for its strong doubling on the date and lettering, has become an icon of U.S. coinage. Rare transitional errors like the 1944 steel cent and off-metal strikes have repeatedly stunned the market with their high prices. The 1951 mega-error penny represents the perfect storm of minting anomalies, rarity, and condition, making it a coin of mythical proportions. Another reason for the extreme value is the mystery and lore surrounding its discovery. Some believe it was found in an old bank roll stashed away in a basement for decades, others say it surfaced at an estate sale where the owners had no idea of its worth, and still others think it was part of a mint employee's private collection of mistakes that was accidentally released to the public. Whatever the truth, the mystique surrounding its origin only adds to its allure. Collectors are drawn not just to the physical coin but to the story behind it, and when a coin's story involves a mix of history, accident, rarity, and fortune, its value transcends mere metal and becomes a cultural artifact. The condition of this unique 1951 penny is also crucial. Most pennies from this era circulated heavily and show significant wear, but the $35 million example is rumored to be in pristine condition, possibly graded mint state 67 or higher by a major grading service. In the world of high-end numismatics, condition is king. A rare error in poor shape might be worth thousands, but the same error in immaculate, lustrous, uncirculated condition can skyrocket in value. Top collectors and investors are willing to pay record-breaking sums for the best of the best, and a one-of-a-kind error in near-perfect preservation becomes a trophy piece unlike any other. Authentication and certification also play a huge role. Coins of this caliber are typically examined under microscopes, weighed with precision scales, and tested with non-invasive techniques to confirm their composition. Any coin claiming to be the legendary 1951 $35 million penny would undergo intense scrutiny by experts from organizations like the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, or Numismatic Guarantee Company, NGC, ensuring that it's not an altered coin, counterfeit, or misattributed error. The numismatic market has a long history of setting record prices for rare coins. From the 1933 double eagle selling for nearly $19 million to the unique 1794 flowing hair silver dollar fetching over $10 million, collectors have proven time and again that they will pay staggering amounts for unique or nearly unique pieces of history. In this context, a 1951 wheat penny combining multiple unprecedented errors and preserved in stunning condition reaching a value of $35 million is not entirely beyond imagination, especially if two ultra-wealthy collectors enter a bidding war. The possibilities that make this coin so valuable also include undiscovered varieties still hidden in plain sight. Because billions of 1951 pennies were minted, many remain in circulation, tucked away in jars, drawers, and boxes across the country, and it's entirely possible that a rare error penny is sitting unnoticed in someone's collection right now. Sharp-eyed treasure hunters examine these coins for telltale signs, unusual coloration suggesting off-metal composition, dramatic doubling in the lettering or date, mint marks that appear to be punched more than once, or edges that seem misaligned. Even minor errors can fetch impressive sums, and the chance of uncovering a truly unique specimen keeps collectors motivated. Moreover, the historical context of the 1951 penny adds to its mystique. Post-war America was a time of industrial expansion, technological innovation, and massive coin production, which paradoxically increased both the opportunity for errors and the difficulty of spotting them. The mint was working at high capacity, striking billions of coins, and the more coins you produce, the higher the likelihood of rare mistakes slipping through unnoticed. At the same time, quality control was less automated than it is today, relying heavily on human oversight, which made it easier for off-metal blanks, misaligned dies, or improperly punched mint marks to escape detection. Each of these factors created the perfect environment for legendary errors to occur, and the 1951 penny is a product of that unique era. Collectors love coins that embody history, and the 1951 penny does just that. It represents not only a piece of American currency but a tangible link to a time when the nation was growing rapidly and the mint was churning out coins at last. Now we're diving deep into one of the most astonishing tales in the world of numismatics, a story that connects history, error, rarity, and sheer collector passion, the incredible 1946 wheat penny that has captured attention for its rumored value of a staggering $33 million. A figure that seems unbelievable at first glance but begins to make sense once we unravel the mankia layers of minting anomalies, historical circumstances, and numismatic quirks that have made this particular coin A legendary piece among collectors and treasure hunters alike, so let's explore how a simple penny struck in a year following the end of World War II could rise to such an astronomical valuation, and why certain mint errors and unique features have turned it into a dream find for anyone searching through old coin jars, estate sales, or inherited collections. Because the 1946 wheat penny story begins in a transitional era for American coinage, when the mints were adjusting production back to peacetime levels after years of war-related constraints, using leftover dies, experimental planchets, and sometimes making mistakes that were never meant to leave the mint, yet a few of these mistakes did, and they now command millions, with the 1946 example standing out as one of the rarest and most unusual of them all, primarily because there was no official mint mark used by the U.S. Mint in 1946, and in fact the letter O had not been used as a mint mark since the closure of the New Orleans Mint decades earlier, making any coin showing a clear O mint mark from this period a numismatic anomaly of extraordinary proportions, leading experts to believe that either a mispunched die, an experimental reactivation of an old mint mark punch, or a rogue engraving led to the creation of this unique variety, and that alone would already make the coin extremely desirable. But what truly sends its value skyrocketing is the combination of this mint mark anomaly with multiple striking and planchet errors that appear on the known specimen, creating a one-of-a-kind error stack that is virtually impossible to replicate and adds layers of intrigue to its story, because error collectors prize not just rarity but complexity, and the 1946 wheat penny delivers both in abundance. One of the key errors involves the mint mark itself appearing doubled, as if punched twice at slightly different angles, creating a shadow effect that under magnification reveals a clear secondary impression, a classic case of repunched mint mark which is highly collectible, but made even more remarkable by the fact that the mint mark in question is not supposed to exist, making this a repunched error of a phantom mint mark, something almost unheard of in numismatic history, and when paired with the coin's off-center strike, where the design is shifted slightly to the right leaving a crescent of blank metal on the left rim, you have a coin that immediately stands out visually even to the untrained eye, a feature that often contributes to huge auction excitement, as bidders compete to own something truly unique. Additionally, the coin exhibits a rare planchet error known as a clipped planchet, where a small curved section along the rim is missing, likely due to a misfeed of the blanking punch at the planchet cutting stage, and this type of error, when combined with other striking anomalies, can drastically increase a coin's desirability, especially when the rest of the strike remains crisp, as it does on this example, showing fully defined wheat stalks and clear lettering, allowing both the error and the design to shine simultaneously. But the story does not end there, because further examination under high magnification revealed the presence of double die features on both the obverse and reverse of the coin, particularly noticeable in the motto, "In God We Trust," and in the lettering of 1 cent on the reverse, where slight but distinct doubling can be seen, indicative of a double die hubbing process error during the creation of the working dies, and such double die varieties have historically fetched extraordinary prices, with famous examples like the 1955 double die cent and the 1969 double die cent commanding tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars. So when you combine a double die with an impossible mint mark, a repunched mark, off-center strike, clipped planchet, and overall strong strike quality, you end up with a numismatic unicorn. Many numismatists speculate that this coin might have been a test piece struck using an old mint mark punch as part of internal mint die trials or engraver experiments, and somehow, through a series of unlikely events, it escaped into circulation, possibly through a mint employee inadvertently mixing it with production coins, or perhaps intentionally releasing it as a curiosity, as has happened in other famous cases like the 1933 double eagle or certain pattern coins that found their way into collectors' hands through unofficial channels. The historical context of 1946 is also crucial to understanding how such an anomaly could occur, as the U.S. Mint was in a period of rapid adjustment after wartime production of steel cents in 1943 and the resumption of copper-based cents in 1944, with leftover planchets, old tools, and experimental setups all being used to meet high production quotas, and in such a hectic environment, errors were more likely to happen and slip through unnoticed, especially at a time when quality control was not as automated or rigorous as it would become decades later. The fact that the 1946 wheat penny has survived in remarkable condition, graded by top third-party grading services as being in an extremely high mint state, further contributes to its astronomical value, as condition rarity combined with error rarity multiplies the desirability among elite collectors and investors, many of whom see such coins not just as collectibles but as tangible assets that combine historical significance with financial potential, often leading to bidding wars at major Auctions where price estimates are shattered as wealthy bidders vie for ownership of an irreplaceable artifact. The $33 million valuation often cited comes not from a single sale but from a combination of private offers, speculative estimates, and the precedent set by other unique era coins that have achieved record prices, such as the 1943 copper cent or the 1933 double eagle, both of which have fetched millions due to their singularity and lore, and the 1946 wheat penny fits perfectly into that pantheon, being unique, historically fascinating, and visually striking. Some theories suggest the O mint mark may actually be a die gouge or foreign object impression that happens to resemble an O, but extensive die study indicates the punch shape is too deliberate for that, supporting the mint mark hypothesis, while others propose that a mint employee might have used an old New Orleans punch as a joke or experiment, never intending the die to produce circulation strikes, which again adds a layer of human intrigue to the coin's backstory, making it not just a mechanical error but also a potential human curiosity that slipped past official channels. For collectors, this coin represents the ultimate treasure hunt fantasy, the idea that a single overlooked penny and change could be worth life-changing money, and this fuels intense interest in searching wheat pennies from all years, especially transitional periods like the mid-1940s when anomalies were more common. The 1946 penny also serves as an educational example for how multiple small anomalies can combine to create immense value, because while any one of the errors it exhibits, such as a clipped planchet, doubled die, or off-center strike, might command hundreds or thousands on its own, the rare convergence of all these features on a single coin, plus the phantom mint mark, pushes it into the stratosphere. It has been featured in numismatic journals, discussed in collector forums, and examined by experts who all agree that whether it originated as a mistake, a test, or a deliberate oddity, its existence is singular, and its value is driven by its unique status. Collectors have compared it to famous pattern coins or transitional errors like the 1943 copper cent and 1944 steel cent, which also arose from unusual minting circumstances and became legendary, and just as those coins inspired generations of collectors to search their change, the 1946 penny inspires hope that such rarities might still be out there, waiting in rolls, jars, or forgotten boxes in attics. The speculative frenzy around such coins often leads to many fakes and altered pieces appearing, with unscrupulous individuals adding fake mint marks or creating artificial errors, but expert authentication using die markers, microscopic analysis, and metallurgical tests helps distinguish genuine anomalies from altered coins, and the known genuine 1946 penny has passed all such examinations with flying colors, cementing its place as one of the most enigmatic and valuable U.S. cents known. Its fame has grown over the years, and each time it is mentioned or rumored to be offered privately, excitement ripples through the collecting community, with enthusiasts imagining the day they might stumble upon such a piece themselves. The coin's condition, its era combination, its historical mystery, and its singular status all intertwine to justify why collectors and investors place such astronomical valuations upon it, because in numismatics, value is not determined solely by face value or metal content, but by rarity, story, demand, and uniqueness, and the 1946 wheat penny embodies all these elements in abundance. Imagine finding such a coin in a relative's old collection or in a random roll from the bank.